All right, yeah, we're good to go. All right, so yeah, so basically, you know, was there ever a time that you weren't open? And if so, you know, what helped you kind of get over that hump? Because there's a hump for people. People are so scared of the opinions, or like I said, they feel they need to be somebody, and it's so powerful to where, you know, they aren't open about it. And it's when you're open about it that things start to open up for you. So kind of like, when did you realize that?
Dude, many times. And I'm still going through it, just on bigger levels. I'm an introvert. So that doesn't come across in my videos and interviews like this and stuff, but I'm an introvert. So I have no need to share my story, to talk. The biggest fight I get into with my agent, who's this, you know, tough New York guy, is, Evan, your problem is you don't want to be famous. Like, yeah, I don't have a need to be famous. You need to get famous for your message to get heard. So how does an introvert become famous? I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. Join me on this journey and we'll see. Lots, man, lots. From big things to little things. Let's start with a little one. I'm at Tony Robbins' event. So Tony, I've been working with Tony for the past four-ish years.
Nice.
He invites me to his event to sit in his specific chairman, you know, seating, and meet him backstage and all this stuff. So I'm there at the event, and is this audio only, or is this video too?
It's video.
Video, okay. So they have these security guards who are all around the stage, because you can't get, you know, somebody jumps on the stage, they have to be there. So
yes.
They're rotating, right? And so as they rotate around, every 20 minutes or so, they do a rotate. And the guy from that corner comes to the front of the stage, and they do this little fist bump with each other. And then they rotate on to the next one. So they keep going in this clockwise direction every 20 minutes doing fist bumps. So I'm sitting there, it's happening right in front of me because I'm in the front row. And I was like, I'm going to fist bump the next security guard. I want to fist bump the next security guard. Because just to show some love to security guards, you know, like, hey, you're important. I recognize you. So the next rotation comes around, my heart's beating. So they come, and I put my fist out like this. He looks at it and keeps walking. Like, I just got owned. I just got rejected by the security guard at Tony Robbins' event. I can't believe it. My initial instinct is, oh my God, I hope nobody, like, who saw that? Did anybody see me just get destroyed here by the security guard? And of course, we always make the story way bigger in our head than it is. Like, chances are almost nobody saw it. And the ones who did they even care? And I'm sure like 2 people maybe saw it and are laughing. Great. But in my head, it's like everybody, the whole world saw it, right? And so in that 20 minutes before the next security guard fist bump came up, I'm sitting there, I'm reflecting. I'm not even listening to Tony at this point because I'm stuck in my world about the lost fist bump. Like, what do I do next? And here's the thing that got me to do the fist bump again. Humans are built to serve. Humans are built to serve. We're wired to serve. Like, serving and helping others does the same thing to your brain as food and sex. Like, we're wired to serve.
Yep. It's human nature. It's human nature.
Yeah. And at the same time, we are afraid of other people's opinions, judgments, expectations. And so most people live life with their foot on the gas and the brake at the same time, because serving involves other people. You have to help others. You have to do something for others. It's not just serving yourself. That doesn't feel good. It's serving other people. But if you're also at the same time afraid of how they're going to react and judge you, then you never do anything.
It's never like fully you. It's never your full self. It's always like a reluctant, held back you of some version of what you think they see you as.
You're stuck.
Yeah.
You know you want to do something, but you're afraid of how you're going to be judged for it, and so you don't do anything, but you know that you can. And that's where most people are. And so in my 20 minutes of being stuck, I flipped the service and I said, you know what? That if 2 people saw me and they were laughing, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing the fist bump until I get one. Just to be a lesson to the other people, not to show up, not to say like, look at me, but to say, hey, here's a guy who's like, he's doing it again. Here he is doing it again, right? He's trying again. And then in my head, at least, they're cheering for me. They're like, I want him to get one. Like, can he just get one? I want him to get one. And I think by the 5th one, I finally got one guy to give me a fist bump. And then I'm celebrating inside. Like, I got it, dude. Like, I got my fist bump. It was the greatest. But I got rejected 4 times. And I feel like I'm never, like, maybe they're trained, don't interact with the audience. because I'm putting my fist out. It's super clear. They look at it and they just move on. But finally, I got my one guy. But the way to do it was service. Like I'm hoping people are watching because I want them to be inspired that maybe they're forgetting to do something or they're playing small somewhere and they're seeing me get rejected and owned over and over and over again. But then finally I win. Like I would have done it all day long until I finally got something, or not, or like I just spent the whole day and I just kept going. And the willingness to try is the inspiration.
Yeah.
But it was the switch from ego and like what people would think of me towards service to other people that allows you to do the thing that you're afraid to do.
Yes. And I was going to say too, just that it's like an intention shift. Like at first your intentions are, why is this not serving me? Like, why is this not helping me? Why is this not coming back my way? You know, I'm giving, why is it? And then it's like you shift that intention towards the other people and you're like, well, I don't need anything. I need to serve others, and I need to be able to at least be good enough to give to other people. And like how you said, and there's something about that, you know, that hero's journey aspect where people do just kind of root for you. It's like they resonate with that failure because they're too scared to do it. So they're kind of like, oh man, a part of me wishes I could be that person. And then when they finally see you get one, it's like, hey, like maybe I could get one. Like maybe I could do that. And like you said, it's that inspiration that helps drive other people and help expose them to kind of another person's like failure to success. You know what I mean? Like you failed and you failed and you failed and you failed, and like you just kept trying, and eventually you got that fist bump.
Yeah,
and it's like,
and people apply it to their own life, right? Like their goal may not be to get a fist bump from a security guard at a Tony Robbins event. That's a super niche thing to want to do. Like don't set that as your life goal.
That's your dream.
Yeah, but then maybe you're afraid to ask that girl out, or maybe you're afraid to launch that business, or maybe you're afraid to post that YouTube video or start your podcast or anything. You get inspired. Like I get inspired by athletes who fail and then come back, even though I'm not an athlete. Right. And so people will be inspired by your story. And I think if you can catch the fear, what we'll do is often with the fear, find a logical reason why we shouldn't do it. So if you can catch it and call BS on yourself and say, that's not actually, because you're smart. So you come up with a really smart reason why you can't do it. Right?
Yeah.
You're smart.
Yeah.
Some stupid reason. And
you figure out it's some way you can justify it.
There's some foundation
where it's gratifying, and you're entitled to that thing. So you justify it just enough.
There's a kernel of truth to it, so you believe it. But really, at the end of the day, you're just afraid. And so if you can tie the service to the community in it, then it allows, at least for me, to have the courage to go forth and do it. And so that's been my whole life, man. That like I'm afraid of everything. I'm an introvert. I don't want to be out there. I don't want to be the face of anything. But it's through the service to others that's given me the courage to go through and do it.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And I think that, and you know, that's kind of why I started this whole thing and this whole podcast is, you know, not to get like the most famous people or not to get the most, you know, well-known people, but to just get stories of people who are trying, who are attempting. And if they fail, they fail, but I can track their story and their progress as well. And I can help encourage to go along with it. And, you know, it presents people with another perspective, another story of how somebody started off with nothing, but still had that vision of something and had the courage to just keep going, whether they're introverted, extroverted, whatever type of person they might be. But I feel like, you know, too many people don't have enough awareness in the exposure to other perspectives. Like, I feel like it's so limited. And that's why I love what you do so much. And I'm a big fan is because you present people with that doorway. You're like that avenue to be able to present people with so many different ways of thinking. So then it helps them form their own like belief and truth system. So it helps them kind of get their own energy up and believe in themselves and present that confidence towards what they really want to do instead of feeling so hindered by everything around them. And another question I wanted to ask you was just before you started all this, what kind of environment were you around? Because I know that for some people, it's really hard when they're around a negative environment and they need to detach from that. But I didn't know if like maybe you started off in like a negative environment or if you started off with like kind of a neutral or positive or if you had anybody like encouraging you. Like where did it all kind of like come from and how did you be able to kind of begin?
Well, there's a couple of things to unpack in there. The first is the language. And I want people to be very particular about the language that they use to describe their situation. So you said about it might have been a really hard environment. Great. I try to train myself that I do hard things. I do hard things. I love hard things. What, you want easy things for the rest of your life? Do you want to then you're inside your comfort zone, photocopying your day over and over again.
Yep. No growth there.
Yeah. So you actually love hard things. You love difficult things. And so examine whatever it is that you want to do. For everybody listening, right? What is your goal? What do you want to accomplish? What's that idea in your head? What's the reason why you're not doing it? Okay, well, often it's hard or it's difficult. Okay, great. You do hard things. Awesome. Or I'm afraid. Great. You do scary things too. You want to just do things where you know the outcome of forever? No, you want it. It's boring. You'll hate your life. So if there's nothing in your calendar in the next month that doesn't scare you, you hate your life.
That's true. There's so much truth in that.
You have to do things that scare you, whether that's reaching out to somebody for an interview, whether that's fist bumping a security guard, whatever it is. Like, there has to be something in your schedule consistently that scares you, that makes your heart boom, 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 boom. Otherwise, you're in your comfort zone and you hate your life. And so what's the reason why you're not doing the thing that you're doing? It can't be because it's hard or difficult, and it can't be because you're scared. And so try to catch that in your own language. Yeah. Well, I can't do that because it's too hard. No. I do hard things. So I'm triggered already when you said hard, because I've taught myself so much. No, I do hard things. I love it. Give me the hard, man. I want the hard. I only do hard. So that's a great, if people can catch it in their own life, then that's how you actually build self-love, self-confidence, self-respect. If you win and it's easy, you might post about it on Instagram that you won, but you don't feel great because it's a fake win.
Yeah.
But if you get up and you just try and it's difficult, that's how you actually build self-love, self-confidence, self-respect, by doing difficult things.
Mm-hmm. And keeping those promises to yourself to carry them out.
Yes, but only when it's hard. It doesn't count until it's hard, right?
Yes.
Keeping a promise to yourself when it
matches. I feel like the level of adversity matches the amount of growth.
100%. It doesn't count until it's hard. Your promises to yourself don't count until it's hard. So it's awesome. Great. You brush your teeth for 19 days straight. Great. But on day 20, when you've had no sleep and there's no toothbrush, and you have to go borrow your friend's toothbrush just to keep that goal to yourself, and you're brushing and there's stuff on it. That's the best. That's when you actually love yourself for doing it when it's difficult, right? It doesn't count until it's hard. And so most people give up when it's hard, and then they teach themselves that when it's hard, I give up. When it's hard, I give up. When it's hard,
it becomes like a system it comes embedded in their DNA at that point.
It's embedded in most people's systems. That's their mindset. When it's hard, I quit, I suck, I give up, and then I'm only going to try things that I know I'm going to win at, and then post these fake wins on my Instagram. That's most people. So I want to change the discussion, and it starts with the language. So when you hear hard, difficult, scared, that's not a good enough reason not to act. In fact, that should be a call to action to go and do.
Yeah.
So the question originally was, my environment was difficult, hard. I'm fortunate. I came from a pretty solid environment. My parents taught me to believe in myself. They're on the wall behind me. There's a picture where I'm 8 or 9 years old. My parents are with me.
Yep, I see it.
It's this giant picture on my wall that I look at every day, along with 4 other canvases. That all means something personal to me. But I think the biggest growth, and if you ask my wife, or if you ask, I had this mastermind group for a dozen years, and over the past 3 years, they've seen the biggest, you've changed. You've become more bold, more assertive, more confident. Still, the foundation is the same, still love and still believe, but just the confidence and boldness and assertiveness has grown a lot. And I honestly attribute it to my channel, to the I'm feeding Steve Jobs and Oprah Winfrey and Kanye West and all these people into my head every day. And it forces you to grow. It'll just force you to grow. So I think your environment has been perfectly designed to keep you where you are. Yeah.
Almost like everything is as it is supposed to be, and you are the path of which you choose to do. So it's all up to you. Your current circumstance doesn't have to be your permanent situation. It's all just dependent on what you see and how you plan on how to get there meticulously and be disciplined in your approach.
And
And
changing the environment is a big play for that. You change your environment, it'll make a huge difference in changing your confidence, your boldness, and the direction of your life.
And, you know, I know for a lot of people, it's really hard for them to be able to notice the, like, because you're right. Like, there is that gap between you saying something is hard and then you determining whether or not it's too hard for you or whether you're going to keep going at it. And there's that gap, like that dissonance between that conscious decision. And so, like, is there anything that you've done? Like, I know that there's gratitude practices and different things, but is there anything that you've personally done, or have you always just been wired to be like that? Because you said you came from like a good environment. What like sparked you to be like, oh, adversity is the key? Like, adversity is the key. Like, is there somebody that you started hearing that from, or like how did that like kind of adversity level approach come into your little like mantra of way of life?
Yeah,
It's hard for people.
But it's hard. It's great. Hard is the best. I love hard. Catch that language. From studying success, by being around it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody asked me on Instagram, Evan, I haven't actually been through a lot of pain or adversity. Can I still have success? I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I've never seen somebody crush it in entrepreneurship and athletics and anything and not have some crazy story that got them there.
Yeah. Or at least overcome some like level of absolute fear.
The people who have it handed to them, like, it's never the kids of rich people who go on to create great things.
Yeah.
You don't want to have super wealthy parents. You don't. What? Show me the list. Inherited wealth, okay, but look at the list of the richest people in the world. Entrepreneurs are the ones who get there, and it's look at their background. They started from less than what you have right now.
Yeah.
They just went for it. So by studying success, by being around it, like whatever you want, be around it. I wanted to be a better entrepreneur, so I surrounded myself with all these successful entrepreneurs. I mean, I've never met Steve Jobs. I never will. A.P. Giannini is my favorite entrepreneur of all time. Never met him, never will. But I learn from them. I watch their content. I digest them. And I'm a visual learner. So I learn best through videos more than a podcast or books. So you hack your own learning style. And you surround yourself with the people who you want to most be like and learn something from. And then with exposure, consistently, you become better. You become different. You grow. You change. You get more bold and confident.
Yeah, you really do. And I think that level of exposure is really what ignites that level of desire within you, because there's a lot of times where I didn't even know about certain things. Like, I didn't know that, you know, certain things were jobs, or I didn't know, like, and, you know, with technology advancing every single day, there's openings and jobs that were never openings before. And there's different avenues that you can use to meet different people and digest success yourself. And I think that, you know, so many people don't have enough different perspectives, like enough exposure to different of what they have internally, so they can form like kind of what really calls to them. Because I think a lot of people feel so lost that they just travel in a bunch of different directions and then just realize, hey, none of this other stuff worked for me, so why is this other thing going to work for me? So they kind of like diminish the ability to like go to what they're like calls to them. And that's what I love about you and about like everything that you do, again, is because you present that. You present that for a lot of people. And it's crazy to see how, what I thought was really interesting is how your story, and maybe it was just because it's like an older video, but I thought it was very interesting on how like your story video only had like 14K views. Like, you know what I mean? And that's why I want to help present people with like kind of your story, like your perspective, the way you see things. Because again, like you present the perspective of everyone, you know. I would love to, and that's why I wanted to be able to present the perspective of you, because I think that that's important, because so many people look up to you, especially here, like you said, you know, everybody was very grateful here because that whole social media trend and this whole wave of, you know, entrepreneurship and this whole thing is not really a thing here yet. Like it's growing, but you know, it's not really a thing. And,
well, I appreciate the love, and I'm writing a new book right now on how to find your purpose and turn it into a successful business. And part of that is documenting my journey and my story. And I was looking at my YouTube channel when like now is, I've had my channel for over 10 years, my first video. And I looked at my first video and was talking about Walt Disney's success story. And in the first year of that video being up, I had 3 comments. 3 comments in 1 year. The first one was from my mom, which is great. I love it. Thank you, Mom. The second one was from my older sister, who also left a comment. And then the third one was some guy, some random dude who I'd never heard of. So, you know, now this video, it was up for a full year and 3 comments. I mean, that's the journey. That's the process. And I've kept all my videos up so you could see the journey and see the development. If you want to go back, there's 10 years of content on YouTube to go through, because it wasn't perfect, because what you see now is 6,000 videos later and a lot of practice. And so it's unfair to compare somebody else just starting off. They may not get the results. They may not be as good on camera or be able to do a good interview. I sucked. Like, you're probably better than I was. I just stayed at it longer. So I mean, a lot of people delete their first videos and try to hide their crappy stuff. Like, I love it. Here, look at all the mistakes I made. Look at all the.
No, I love it. I absolutely love it. There's like a certain, like, because like you said in the very beginning of this, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like in the very beginning of this, you even said like people love to see that progression. And that's why that's been my one word, is progression. You know, always progressing and constantly innovating on yourself and really diving deeper into yourself and really figuring out who you are. Because that's always been the issue for me. And like you say, like, your pain is your purpose. Like, that's always been my pain. Like, and that's been my purpose now, is to kind of present people with their own self-awareness and the systems that work. And so, like, going back to like the beginning, you know, you said people love to see that story and that progression. And that's why I love to keep those videos up too. That's why I love to do it, is because people will see, even if I don't become anything, I'm still going to be something to myself because I'm doing it. And I'm proud of my progress. I'm proud of the things that I'm doing every day. And that's what it's about. You know, it's not about a million follows and all these things. If that's what you want, yeah, I guess, but it's more long-term than that. It's like you said, it's that patience aspect. It's that progressionary aspect, that rooting for you, you know? So I definitely, I'm the same way when it comes to keeping everything up. And everybody's so filtered nowadays that people just want that. They're not patient enough to wait.
So you talk about putting yourself out there and being afraid and doubting yourself. You know, I shared the Tony Robbins story with the fist bump. If I had to look at something bigger, for the longest time, my story was the #1 request on the channel. So for those who don't know, I have a YouTube channel, you know, 2 million subscribers. We do top 10 profiles on successful people. I break down the rules for success. The #1 request was me. We want the Evan Carmichael top 10 rules. And I'm thinking, like, what? I'm giving you Steve Jobs and Oprah Winfrey and all these people, titans.
You want better than gold?
It's like, I built my business. I sold it. I struggled. I became a venture capitalist. I have my own story, but in my mind, it was nothing compared to what these people had done.
Yeah.
And for years, I resisted. I held off until finally, I don't know, I would say my 6th or 7th or 8th anniversary of having the channel, my team and my fans forced it. They put together an Evan Carmichael top 10 video.
Oh, really?
And conspired for me, I guess. And they posted it. I think it was on my birthday. They handed it to me. My wife gave it to me on like a little USB. And then my team surprised me and put it up on my channel. And when I thought a different video was going to go up, and then there it was. Evan's 10 rules, and my fans helped find them. Anyway, and then from there we've done a couple more. I think even last week another one came out.
Yeah, I've seen a few.
It took a while. It took a while to build like, well, who cares about my story versus something else? But I think the willingness to try is an inspiration. I think even if you're talking about you know, if you hit 1 million followers or likes, even the willingness to try, to go out every day and still do it, right? The fist bump, the willingness to try every day is an inspiration. And so your only advantage is your story. For all the entrepreneurs listening, you're going up against big competition. Why should I listen to you instead of watching CNN or watching some big news network? Well, because of your story. Like, why would they buy from you instead of some giant corporation? Because of your story, because I feel like I'm like you. But if you don't tell me how you're like me, then I'm not going to listen to you. And so the courage to share your story the willingness to be vulnerable and get it out there, even though some people will judge you for it, is the only thing that will connect people to you, because people don't want to learn from the perfect person. You don't want to learn from the perfect person because, like, well, they're perfect, so that's why they're like that.
Exactly. And I'm glad you said that too, because I even said something like yesterday or a couple of days ago where I was like, everybody wants to be the next Gary Vee, the next Tony Robbins, the next Evan Carmichael, the next. And I'm like, just be you, because that's the only way you're going to be authentic enough and genuine enough to present that story and know yourself enough to know what story to present, because some people don't know how to tell that story. They don't know how to properly, manifest it into the right structure in order to, show it out to the world. They just get so caught up in the perfection on how they present it that it doesn't even get put out, and to overcome that level of like hesitation, it takes practice, takes a lot of practice. But when you get over that hump, I always say, like, when we open up, we bloom. That's when, like, we're like a flower, you know what I mean? Like, we bloom. And so it's like, you got to open up. You got to be who you are, because that's the only way you're going to attract things that are going to be like-minded enough to get to where you to where you want to go. And I know we're running short on time, but I just wanted to know, because I usually ask this at the end of every interview, is just kind of you give a lot of advice about a lot of different things. You talk about a lot of different things. I just was wondering, what is just some good advice that you could give people who are struggling with figuring out who they are and where they need to go?
So to your point about being yourself, it's common advice, right? Like, go be yourself, go be yourself. But then people say, well, how? I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
How do I be myself? So the best thing that I would actually recommend is I would two-step it. I think the first step is to model success, which is what I love doing. And you try being like Gary Vee. You try being like Samuel. You try being like Tony Robbins. You try on their hat. You try it on and see how it feels. If you're going to launch a podcast, look at your favorite podcast and see what questions they ask, and ask the same questions. You try it on. It'll get you 80% of the way. But that hat's not going to quite right. There's going to be something a little bit off. It's going to need some adjustments. And that's where, I have Steve Jobs up on my wall. I have my father up on my wall as two examples. I don't want to be a father like Steve Jobs was. I want to be a father like my father was, or is still. And I don't want to be a visionary like my father is. I want to be a visionary like Steve Jobs was. And so you can pull these different people, different pieces from different people to help you find yourself. And so a great challenge is, I've got, I don't know how many top 10 videos on my channel. I would challenge your audience to go to my channel and find the person who you hate the most. You hate them.
And open yourself up.
Yeah. And for 15 minutes, because all the videos I have is positive, right? Yeah. So even if you hate Steve Jobs, you can still learn from him how to be a visionary. You may hate 98% of him, but he's had success. Use that for good. And go to the channel, find a video on somebody that you absolutely despise, and then be willing for 5 minutes to learn from them, and pull one thing that can make you better. And I think that actually becomes a process of you finding yourself, as you're trying all these different hats, where there is no one hat. You're not going to be the next Steve Jobs. He might take you 25% of the way, but you need to find a 75% by picking different pieces from different things and different people, and then you're making your own unique hat. And so the more exposure you get, especially to people who you don't agree with, and then you force yourself to learn something from that person, I think is how you actually grow.
That is awesome. I'm so glad you said that too, because that's something that I had to learn. And that's something that I've been saying is, like, you can't just apply the whole template to one person just because that one thing resonated with you. You've got to find the things that work for you and create your own system in order for you to be happy enough with the actions that you're putting forth every day, because then you'll find the things that call to you. You'll get pulled more to those things, and then you'll open up more, and then things will start to open up for you. And then it all just becomes this more of a proactive cycle that you're perpetuating within yourself to create more, of a growth mindset as opposed to more doubt. You know what I mean? Instead of being plagued with a bunch of doubt and just insecurity. But so all right. So is there any other last words as far as, the advice? Like, I know that people need to expose themselves, but is there anything is there anything else that you would say will resonate with people? And then where can people, I know people can find you on YouTube. For those that, you know, don't have social media, where can they, or like, and then where can people find you? Do you have do you have a newsletter or anything like that as well?
Yeah, I have a newsletter. You can get it off my website, or at the end of every YouTube video, you can get the newsletter. If you want the books, you can go to Amazon, social media. I'm everywhere. Just Evan Carmichael can find me. In terms of last bit of advice, I would say make yourself proud today. It's a battle every day to make yourself proud. And that is something only you can be the judge of. You might have some huge win and say, hey, should I be proud of it? I don't know. Like, who cares what I think about what makes you proud? So are you proud of your effort? If every day before you hit your head on the pillow, you ask yourself, am I proud of my effort today for what I'm trying to accomplish? Am I proud of the effort I put in? Not the results that I got, not how many people saw my show, but the effort that I put in. Am I proud of it? If that answer is yes every day, you will go on to create amazing things, even if most days you're losing from results. Mm-hmm. So whatever time of day it is that people are listening or watching to this, are you proud of your effort? Make yourself proud. Make yourself proud today before you put your head on the pillow and celebrate that.
Yes. And the make yourself proud, the yourself that is aware of who you are, not the yourself that is influenced by what everybody else is proud of. Like you said, you know, because with this influence in these days and age, man, it's crazy. Like you said, there's so many filters on Instagram. It gets hard. It gets really hard for people because I know, and the only reason I know is because I've had that level of adversity and I have, you know, sabotaged my own life and stuff like that. So I know I barely came out, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I know what it's like. And that's why I'm so inspired by people like you. And that's why and it's funny because I don't even know if you remembered, but I actually asked you a few times how you published your book. I asked you a few times, like how you edited it, all that stuff. And now it's finally getting released on the 16th. So it's just awesome. Like you kind of like helped pave my way a little bit too. I read your book, Your One Word. And it's just like you said, it's about being exposed to different people and seeing what works for you. And now I'm proud of myself. Like you said, you know, I hit my head on the pillow and I'm just proud of my actions that day. I don't need to be something crazy and I don't need to be famous or any of this stuff. I just need to, you know, be the dad, like you said, to my kids. I just need to be that person. I just need to know who I am. So I just wanted to thank you, man. I really appreciate it. It was really nice to like actually meet you and sit down and actually just, you know, talk and converse and just, you know, get to know you a little bit. You know what I mean? That's really what this is about. I like to build relationships long-term with people, and everybody that I've had on the podcast, I still have a relationship with to this day. So I just want to thank you for taking the time out.
Thanks for having me on, and pumped to see your podcast continue to grow.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
Take care.